In Venezuela, the discussion about how long to stay, or where to flee and how to begin a new life, is never far from many people's minds. Every time I visit the country, there are fewer friends and contacts to catch up with. An estimated 5,000 people pack up their lives and leave every day, eager to flee the economic collapse and humanitarian crisis, which has beset the oil-rich nation. More than 3 million people have fled Venezuela in recent years, according to the United Nations. That number is expected to rise to more than 5 million by the end of 2019. The vast majority of Venezuelans travel to other parts of South America. More than 1 million Venezuelans have chosen neighboring Colombia as their new home, with 500,000 more traveling through it on their way further south to Ecuador, Peru and the countries beyond. The lucky ones, those with connections, family members already established and an education, have found work in other parts. But I have also met plenty of farmer professionals selling water, food on the streets of Peru and Colombia to make ends meet. We are talking about people who are leaving not because of a natural disaster, not because of a war, says Claudia Vargas Ribas, a migration expert at the Simón Bolívar University in Caracas. The new year is widely expected to heap pressure on the Venezuelan government. On 10 January, Nicolás Maduro will be formally sworn in for another 6 years, after being declared the winner in elections last May. These elections were largely boycotted by the opposition and were widely condemned by the United States, the EU and most of Venezuela's neighbors. President Maduro blames imperialists, the likes of the United States and Europe, for waging economic war against Venezuela and imposing sanctions on many members of his government. But his critics say it is economic mismanagement first by his predecessor Hugo Chavez and now President Maduro himself that has brought Venezuela to its knees. We are going to have critical days and weeks beginning in January, says David Smolenski, an exiled opposition leader and now the head of the Working Group on Venezuelan Migration for the Organization of American States. The leadership of the opposition-controlled National Assembly changes in early January, and some believe this could be the cause of further tension. Maduro is going to want to project a show of strength, says Jeff Ramsey, the assistant director of the Venezuela program at the Washington Office of Latin America. I think that's going to create a new level of dissatisfaction, and the few that do not have an escape plan will be activating them after Maduro officially takes his new term. Venezuela's crisis will continue to affect all of South America. The countries in the region are developing countries. We cannot forget that, says Claudia Vargas Ribas. So receiving this quantity of people has made their internal affairs more complicated. There have been efforts to coordinate the humanitarian response. There have been 2 meetings in Ecuador's capital Quito, and a recognition that countries need to work together to solve the crisis. A third is scheduled for the first half of 2019. If you compare what Latin America has done with what Europe has done with its migrants, Europe, which has better conditions and is more economically developed, the example that Latin America is showing is enormous, says sociologist Thomas P.S., who coordinates the global project of the Venezuelan diaspora. But with more and more Venezuelans arriving, could countries tighten their immigration rules? If they put brakes on it, what will grow is irregularity, says Mr. P.S., adding that drug trafficking, prostitution and illegal industries will grow. Some experts believe what's been promised so far is a job in the but it compared to what is needed. Regional governments are very interested in getting funding from the United States and other donors, says Jeff Ramsey. But they are much more apprehensive when it comes to providing mid- and long-term solutions to the crisis. Earlier this month, 95 organizations, coordinated by the United Nations Refugee Agency, the United Nations and the International Organization for Migration, launched the so-called Regional Response Plan for Refugees and Migrants from Venezuela. The idea is to help respond to the needs of those Venezuelans who are migrating, as well as call on the international community to help fund aid efforts. Jeff Ramsey says, "It is a great start, but promises on paper are not enough. A meaningful solution to Venezuela's displacement crisis will require Latin America to integrate these communities into their formal economies and job markets. The region does not just need to respond to the crisis. It needs to keep up the pressure against Mr. Maduro too," says David Smolanksy. "You need the strong arm and the friendly hand," he says. "The region needs to be firm against the dictatorship. As long as it continues, people are going to flee." A poacher has been ordered to watch the Disney film Bambi repeatedly after he was convicted of illegally killing hundreds of deer. Missouri hunter David Barry, Jr., must view the film at least once a month during his year-long sentence. He was arrested in August along with 2 family members for killing the deer, taking their heads and leaving their bodies to rot. Prosecutors said it is reportedly one of the biggest poaching cases in Missouri history, on top of the jail sentence of the illegal deer hunting. Judge Robert George ordered Barry Jr. to view the Walt Disney movie Bambi, with the first viewing being on or before December 23,
2018,
and at least one such viewing each month thereafter. During his spell in prison, the 1942 cartoon about woodland creatures shows a hunt to kill the mother of eponymous deer character Bambi. The months-long investigation, spanning several states, led to the arrest of Barry Jr., his father David Barry, Sr., and his brother Kyle Barry, according to a local newspaper, the Springfield News Leader. While the total number of deer taken illegally is unknown, Lawrence County's conservation agent Tandy Barnes said it could be several hundred. Barry Jr. received a year-long sentence in Lawrence County Prison after pleading guilty to illegally taking wildlife. He has also been sentenced to a 1-to-0-day term in Barton County Prison for a firearms probation violation, and both he and his father had their hunting privileges revoked for life by the Missouri Conservation Commission. 2 Scandinavian women tourists have been found dead in Morocco, with cords to their necks, the country's interior ministry said. Both bodies were found near the town of Imleo in the High Atlas mountain range, near the foot of North Africa's highest peak, Mount Tepco. The women, from Denmark and Norway respectively, have not yet been named. A police investigation has been launched into their deaths, the Interior Ministry statement said. A popular tourist attraction has become the latest Chinese company to show solidarity with Huawei's chief finance officer, Meng Wanzhou, who was arrested in Canada on 1 December. Shannon Mountain Scenic Park, in eastern Hainan province said it would waive the $9.65 yuan ticket fee for anyone carrying a Huawei phone. Ms. Meng, who was given bail in Canada, faces extradition to the United States on charges of breaking Iran sanctions. Her case has upped tensions with China. Use Huawei phones. Shoot grand photos on the mountain. A notice on the Shannon Park's social media account said, "We wish friends around the world who support Huawei's success and bliss." The offer would last until 29 December. The South China Morning Post reported, but it was met with some criticism among China's social media users, who claimed it was discriminatory. Huawei phone owners are being offered other enticements too. They can get a 20% discount at a border in Beijing. Seen in Beijing, bring a Huawei phone and get 20% off. Similar to this story we covered yesterday, https://QQXL19YPQLPIC. Twitter.com Soccerlof. End of Twitter post by @LuOceanG. At least one firm have threatened to penalize anyone buying Apple products. A few days ago, Manpad Shenzhen-based LED display manufacturer offered subsidies to any employees buying Huawei phones.